Welcome to the Salt Strong Fishing Podcast. Salt Strong has been helping saltwater anglers catch more fish in less time for 10 years and is now the largest and most trusted saltwater fishing community in America. If you want to catch more saltwater fish, then keep listening. If you want to speed up your fish catching results even faster, then join the private insider community at saltstrong.com. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
The 5-second rule. And no, I'm not talking about dropping your food and being able to pick it up and eat it in 4 or 5 seconds. I'm talking about something even bigger and way more important in your life. Hey, everybody. Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, back again with Salt Strong Unchurched. I read this book by Mel Robbins called The 5-Second Rule a while back. And I have been hesitant to talk about it because I wanted to make sure it actually worked first. I've been really kind of implementing it in my life for quite some time. And it has been startling, is the word I will use, on how impactful, how effective, and I'm not going to say life-changing just yet, but I think it could be for many, many people. And maybe will be. I'll look back and say, hey, that was a life-changing decision. And maybe the other reason, I was telling someone, it was Mel Robbins' book. I was telling a friend, like, oh, I don't like Mel Robbins. Like, why not? Like, oh, she's a crazy liberal or whatever. I was like, I didn't even know that. I was like, so number two, I would say as Christians, yes, we need to stand for what we believe in. At the same point, I think we've gone maybe too far where we're judging someone's awesome book by what they believe in. And there's not a single mention of, I didn't know she even was personally. But I will just say that up front in case that was your initial gut reaction, like my friend. Don't judge a book by the way the person votes, I guess is what I will say, because it was really one of the most impactful books and had literally zero to do with politics. I didn't even know where she stood with politics, nor do I care. I just got a lot of value from the book. So all that being said, let's love each other. And yes, we need to believe in what we vote in, but at the same point, don't just automatically hate someone who might have something that could change your life just because they voted differently than you. All that being said, the 5-second rule. So it's really just a technique to overcome procrastination and to take action. If you've read my book, Fishing for Happiness, you know one of the 4 kind of pillars is taking action. If you heard me talk about the book Think and Grow Rich, I did a podcast on that recently. One of the biggest things holding us back from happiness and from fulfillment is procrastination on the things that we know we need to be doing, right? And as I was reading this book, what kept coming back to me was those little things that I know I need to be doing. Those like working out, for instance, or going to church, listening to a podcast like this, like the things that I know I need to be doing, but I put them off. I procrastinate. Things inside of my business that I know I need to be doing, and yet I procrastinate because it's way easier to procrastinate and make excuses than to do it. Let's be honest. It is. And, she made a really, really valid point in her book that most people don't ever hit their peak, if you will. Like they don't ever maximize their unique God-given abilities because they don't take enough action, because they procrastinate, because of fear, usually, maybe in anxiety, things we've talked about in the past. And this technique, the 5-second rule, is a way to break through that barrier to get you past that. And I'll just kind of share her story. So she was at the time unemployed, a pretty bad drunk, meaning just drinking every single night and sleeping in to the point she had young kids and was, basically they were going in late to school every day. She literally just couldn't get out of bed. And when she did, it was the absolute last second after snoozing 8 times. She said that was kind of the average, that she would snooze 8 times and still kind of hungover, barely getting the kids' lunches packed. She'd forget something almost every day, and she's having to run back to school and just kind of felt like a failure as a mother and a spouse because she was employed. And, long story, got let go, and the thing she was working on didn't work out, and essentially was just depressed and was leaning on alcohol and procrastination to kind of fill some of those voids and this emptiness. And it was kind of sad. But she's like, I decided one day that nothing was going to happen good until I at least started my day off right. And I've talked about the book, The Miracle Morning, must read if you haven't read it. It's the power of waking up a little bit earlier and doing a few little rituals like praying, like doing a little bit of reading and a writing and just a little bit of silence and meditation, and the power of that. That did change my life and my wife's life. So she's like, I know nothing good is going to happen unless I can at least just get out of bed first. Like, let's start there before I even try to get a job, before I even try to be an awesome parent. Let me at least just get out of bed. Let's start there. And so she was watching a countdown on TV one night with one of the rockets going up, or space shuttle. And they do a countdown, right? And once they hit one, there's no turning back. You hit the button and you go. And so she's like, you know what? I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. Instead of snoozing 8 times, I'm going to do a countdown. Instead of going from 10, I'm just going to go 5. Let's cut it in half. And I'm going to literally, as soon as that alarm goes off, I'm going to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off. And I have to do it. And she did it. And she actually got out of bed, like first time in like a year, she had actually gotten out of bed without hitting the snooze multiple times. I'm laughing because my wife had a similar issue. I don't have that. I rarely, if ever, have hit snooze. But I'm laughing because my wife suffers from the same thing that Mel does. And so she did it again the next day. And all of a sudden, in a pretty short amount of time, a week or two, like her life started changing. Like all of a sudden, some doors started opening up. She had better relationships with her kids. She wasn't forgetting stuff. She wasn't having to go back and drop off their backpack or their lunchbox or their sandwich that she forgot. All of a sudden, just a lot of good things started happening. So like anything, losing weight, saving money, it gets addicting, right? She goes, I'm going to keep doing this more and more. And then she goes, well, I'm going to start applying this to other things in my life, like working out. Right? How many times have you done? I know I do this all the time. Heck, I've done it for years straight. Literally, I took off an entire year of working out. And I would still do some push-ups and walking, but I would literally avoid going to the gym because I had every excuse possible. Like, I got a trip coming up. I don't want to get sick. A lot of times I go to the gym and got sick, caught something. Or, I don't have time, or, parking's going to be crazy, or it's just going to be crowded during this time. And she's like, I'm going to do the same thing when I don't want to go to the gym. I'm going to count down to 5 and I'm going to go grab my water and get in the car and just go, and no excuses. And because she was finding herself sometimes, so she even make it that far. Like she'd actually get the water bottle and be changed and ready to go, even get in the car. She'd actually had time. She got in the car, and maybe you've done this. I have not gone this far, but she got in the car and then changed her mind and says, yeah, screw it. I'm just not going to do it, and procrastinated on it. So she goes, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. I'm going, lift off. There's no stopping me. I'm going to the moon. Right. And that's kind of the analogy is there is no going back. Once you hit that lift off, once that one is over on a countdown, there's no turning back. So she started applying this in every part of her life. And if you look up Mel Robbins, I mean, now she's got one of the biggest podcasts. She's on TV. She's worth a ton of money, has a happy marriage. Her marriage was falling apart. Everything about her life was falling apart before this 5-second rule. Now there's TED Talks on it. It's quite a famous thing. And many people have said this rule has really changed their life. And really what it does, it's kind of reworking your brain, right? So it's kind of bypassing your brain's natural resistance to change, because our brains are adapted to not want a bunch of change, right? We like to get in routines. The brain doesn't have to work as hard. Our bodies don't have to work as hard when we're doing the same kind of routines over and over and over again. It takes a lot of energy from your brain. It takes a lot of capacity to do a lot of new things. And so this countdown distracts the brain is what she was proving in her book. And there's now been some research that backs this up. But essentially, that countdown distracts the brain that's telling you to, hey, take it easy. This is out of the routine. Let's just keep it simple. and it kind of activates the prefrontal cortex, which allows you to take action without the brain getting in the way and telling you to, oh, just put it off and procrastinate. And so kind of my story with this, some of the things I struggle with, as I told you, one, working out. And so for me, I don't go to the gym every day. I don't go to the gym often, actually. But what the things I really wanted to do was 100 push-ups a day. And so I said, I wrote it down. I'm staring at it as I speak. So I have a thing right there in front of my desk that I see every day, and it says the 5-second rule. And so 100 push-ups and 30 minutes of cardio. I know if I just do those two things, I'm going to be in pretty good shape, keep the weight off, feel good, and just keep my brain sharp. I still do all my reading and all that kind of stuff. I don't struggle there personally, but I was really struggling with a lot of the workout stuff. So now, and let me tell you, there's been days I don't want to do it, but I've done it, I believe, every single day now for at least I think it's been 3 months. It was the beginning of the year when I read this. So I've done 100 push-ups every day, and I've actually lost weight, and the 30 minutes of cardio. And normally it's just walking. I'm not sitting there trying to run a marathon. A lot of times I'll just put my headsets in and podcast it like you're listening to right now, and I'll just get on that treadmill or walk around the neighborhood or on the driveway, whatever, for 30 minutes. And it's amazing what that's done in my life. But it's taken this 5-second rule, and I'll literally do that countdown. As goofy as it sounds, I've had so many days where I'll get the push-ups in. I was like, I don't want 30 minutes. That's a long time. I got a lot of stuff to do. And I'll be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there is something about it. It distracts the brain from trying to convince me not to do it. And there's just no excuse after that. When the 1 hits, I just take action. And it's amazing what it has done. On the business side of things, there was something that we're working on. I can't share what it is now, but it's a pretty cool project. And there was a connection that I needed and I didn't have. And I didn't have any way to get to this person. And so I did a lot of research, finally found their email through a lot of crazy Google searches and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to send them just a complete cold email. And guess what? My brain was telling me not to do it. Oh, they're going to wonder what the heck I'm doing. I'm going to look like an idiot. The same reasons a lot of us don't send a cold email to maybe an important person, let's just say. And I finally said, all right, 5-second rule. I'm staring at it. 5, because I had it typed out. I'd reread it 3 times. 4, 3, 2, 1, send. And guess what? I heard back from the person, and they were like, they knew who we were. They're pleased to hear from me. And now we've had a couple of cool conversations, all because I did that. And normally, I know my old self, I might have just sat on that. I might have just put it off to say, oh, I'll do that later. I don't really need that connection. I'll go at it a different routes. It's crazy how we talk ourselves out of things that could be that magical door that we've talked about that opens up everything. So just want to share that with you. I don't want to be a long one on this one. I'm trying to keep it short, 5 seconds, go take some action. But whatever it is that maybe you're procrastinating on, that maybe you're taking a little too long with, or maybe it's something that you should do or should have done and you haven't done it, try it out. Maybe it is just a working out routine or whatever it is, but that 5-second rule, just count down, tell yourself what you're going to do, and then count down. Your brain will be distracted, and then take action. It is amazing what it will do in your life, regardless if it's you trying to do a new hobby or a sport or doing something with your spouse or kids or grandkids or whatever it is. There's got to be something on your mind that you kind of want to do, but you haven't done it. Maybe it's getting your pilot license, or reading a book, writing your own book, whatever it is. Because she talked about that, writing now she's written multiple books, and she's like, there is so many mornings I did not want to get up and write, like I talked about in last week's podcast. And she goes, I did the 5-second rule more often than not, just to get me to write the first word, versus just sitting there and staring at my computer. It was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's it. I will bet that if you do this, amazing things will happen. God will open up some amazing doors, and man, you will not be a procrastinator anymore. That is the number one thing holding people back from my happiness. So I'd love to hear your stories on this. If you've tried anything like this before, And make sure to save my email, joe@saltstrong.com, and tell me what happens after you do this for 30 days. If it's anything like me, I am sure some magic will happen in your life. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Hope this one was helpful. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm out.
Want more fishing tips, shortcuts, and tools so you can catch more fish per trip? Then head over to saltstrong.com now and join the movement. Tight lines, and thanks for listening.